Good morning, everybody. What a spectacular day. We could not have ordered up nicer weather, and I am so grateful to all of you. I want to thank Nancy for the wonderful introduction and the great work that she and Gary, her brother, are doing at Stonyfield, not just because the yogurt's really good, but because they are such a wonderful community member and are setting a tone nationally in terms of corporate responsibility. So I'm extraordinarily grateful to them. I am extraordinarily grateful to Andy Mack and Mack Apples, the host today. I just had the opportunity to learn more about Andy's family and the history and tradition of Mack's Apples, and what a spectacular history it is. And so we are so grateful for his support and grateful for all the great work that he is doing. Now, I am going to give some initial remarks because I want to talk a little bit about the issue of climate change. We gave a speech yesterday in Portsmouth. I want to expand on that issue, so we're going to do a little speech making on the front end, and then we're just going to open it up for questions, and those questions can be on the environment or anything else that you're interested in. If at the end of this thing you decide Obama's my guy, we would love for you to fill out one of these supporter cards, because we want you involved in the campaign. And one of the things that's been exciting about this campaign is the way that ordinary people have just thrown themselves into it, and we're building something from the bottom up and not just from the top down. So we would love to have you involved, and we're grateful that you're taking the time to be here today. So, you know, as I said before, Stonyfield Farm sets an example that all companies should follow. And I just want to tell you specifically, not only has Stonyfield invested in clean energy, they've shown that not only is it good for the environment, but it's also good for business. If I'm not mistaken, that Stonyfield, by cutting energy use 33%, you've been able to save over $1.7 million, which is something to be proud of and is an example that can be done when we take this issue of energy seriously. You can find this kind of leadership on energy all across New Hampshire. A few months ago, I filled up at a biodiesel pump at UNH, where this year students and faculty will remove over 200 tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. 200 tons. New Hampshire's already reducing its greenhouse gas pollution as part of the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. And thanks to the leadership of Senator Martha Fuller Clark and Governor Lynch, you'll get 25% of your energy from renewable sources by 2025. Keene is one of America's greenest cities, and I understand that 164 towns have now passed a resolution demanding that Washington take action on climate change. But the reality is that while New Hampshire has been a model of innovation, Washington has failed to act. And that's why America isn't leading when it comes to taking on the threat of climate change. Washington's failure is the failure of a president who spent most of his time in office denying the very existence of global warming, suggesting that it might be a hoax. It's also a failure of our politics that predates George W. Bush, because we've heard promises about energy independence from every single U.S. president since Richard Nixon, Republicans and Democrats, and yet nothing has changed. Truth is, our energy problem has become an energy crisis, because no matter how well-intentioned the promise, no matter how bold the proposal, they all fall victim to the same Washington politics that has become more divided and more dishonest, more timid and more calculating, more beholden to the special interests that have the biggest stake in the status quo. There's some in this race who actually make the argument that the more time you spend immersed in the politics of Washington, the more likely you are to change it. I always find this a little amusing. I know that change makes for good campaign rhetoric, but when these same people had the chance to make change happen, they didn't lead. When they had the chance to stand up and require automakers to raise their fuel efficiency standards, they refused. When they had multiple chances to reduce our dependence on foreign oil by investing in renewable fuels that we can literally grow right here in the United States, they said no. Now, I know that some of the policies that are needed to deal with our energy crisis and the climate crisis are difficult politically. They aren't easy. But being president of the United States isn't about doing what's easy. It's about doing what's right. Leadership isn't about telling people what they want to hear. It's about telling the American people what they need to hear.